What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. We have a very special one here today. I have a franchise partner with me, Becky Patterson, okay, and her member, all right, from Burn Bootcamp Tallahassee, Jillian Bosarge. Congratulations for being here. I'm so excited to have both of you on the podcast today. Welcome. If you guys are here, make sure you're subscribing, okay, because we're going to tell you the story of Jillian. Well, she's going to tell you her story today, and I'm going to ask the questions, and listen, you chime in to elaborate whenever you can, okay? Yep. I was so excited to be able to talk to you because I read the transformation story that you guys posted on Tally's Instagram. Actually, Becky sent it to me, and I came up with all my questions based on reading that, and it was such a good like punchy story, but it also left me wanting more. So I want to kind of dive into how you guys got started. So I'll start with you. Why did you come to Burn in the first place? What was the trigger for you? If you could give us a general sense, but then maybe you could zoom into that one moment where you were enough is enough. I'm doing something about this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a third grade teacher at a school here in Tallahassee, and post-COVID has just been really difficult, and I'm sure it's not just teachers, but it's everybody who works. And I just had a really tough semester. I had a student intern teacher who we kind of went back and forth, and just life was stressful. I was carrying a lot of weight around on my shoulder. And it was in May towards the end of a school year, where my principal, my boss, actually said to me, we think you ought to come to Burn with us. It would be a lot of fun.
She was already a member?
Yes, she
was already a member? Okay,
yes,
good.
She
all right.
recruited me.
That's what we do. We just drag you in, right?
Yes, and so I kind of looked at her, and then I looked at what I was wearing, and 5 years postpartum, I kind of thought maybe it was time. Maybe she was trying to tell me something. So I said, okay. And then I kind of sat on it and ruminated on it for a little bit, and then I just kind of hung back, and it kind of kept coming up in my mind, and it only took about a week after that initial invitation. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. You know, when your boss tells you to do something.
Was it a week before you went, or a week before you said yes?
It was a week before I said yes and went at the same time.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so I just kind of, a week later, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So I packed up my gym clothes, and at the end of the school day, I got in the car and I drove over to Burn and signed up for it was a trial. It was a 4-week special.
Okay.
And so I signed up for that.
Were you in the gym that day?
I don't remember if I was there for your first camp.
No, I don't think
know.
so.
Okay, what was your experience?
I remember your first week for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me a story.
So Kim McFarland is the principal of her school.
boss.
Has been a longtime member, and she always brings in a steady crop of teachers every promo that we do. And I very vividly remember Jillian coming in and your energy is so good, right? She's always smiling. She was suffering too. She was suffering through camp.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was just sometimes not even having a good time, but then you would say her name and her head pop up and she'd smile. And I was like, that's one of ours. That one's she's in the bag. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And so that first camp, I actually showed up. I don't think Kim knew that I was going to be there, because I kind of didn't want her to know. And of course it was at the camp that she was at, and then there were a couple of other people that I teach with at that same camp, and Nikki trained us, and I will never forget that camp because it was humbling. There was so much that I could not do, and I still kind of think of myself as young, and I could do a lot of things, but not a whole lot at Burn. So at the end of that camp, I took a picture with Nikki. I still have it, holding a sign I survived my first camp. And I slowly walked out to the car, and I'm pretty sure I creaked and popped getting into the car because I drive a big mom car. And I had not even gotten home before my phone was ringing. Kim called me and said, wow, that was a tough camp. You made it. I'm proud of you. And then another teacher friend, who's now my teacher next door neighbor, Patty, called me, and she's like, didn't that feel so good? And I was like, no.
See, Becky's got him conditioned to like call you and follow up and be like, doesn't that awesome? You're like, whoa, I think.
Yes.
I mean,
And they
it's the
both
cult
were-
of positivity, I call it.
Yeah. And they were
Yeah.
both like advising me, drink a lot of water and, you know, eat your protein and then be back tomorrow. We'll see you.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
Sounds a lot
You
like our
know?
trainers, what we say at the end too,
Right,
I think.
exactly. I mean, I think they had the lingo and they were just trying to encourage me.
That's great.
And so I got home and, you know, cooked dinner for family really slowly, drank all the water that I could, but I still felt the endorphins from that first workout. And I was like, okay, I think I can do this. So that night I packed up, you know, gym clothes for the next day and I returned for day 2.
When you guys first sat down, because you do all the focus meetings at your location, right?
Yep.
Which is incredibly cool because it just shows how dedicated you are to everyone, being a franchise partner and being a busy business owner, but then also making the time out to like take these personal connections with everyone. And there's 454 members as of today, so you are keeping yourself very, very busy. What was your first focus meeting like with Jillian?
So Jill, her main thing was like energy, right? She wanted to feel good, right? She wanted more energy to run around after her kids, right? Wanted to feel better in her clothes. But for you, it always seemed to be like, I just want like my head space. Like I want to take some time for myself, right? Because she was so busy, so stressed out with work, you know, and she's got younger boys to run around after. And so Jillian actually made it on our transformation wall within 6 months, right? I mean, like 30 pounds in the first 6 months, boom, right? And like, that was impressive, right? But like, you could tell that just walking into the gym floor that like, she just was thriving on being there, you know, like that was walking through the door, like biggest smile on her face. And it's like the work outside, I don't even think was really that difficult for her. I think it was just finding her niche of people, right? And that community that like supported you and like, I think that people generally walk into a gym thinking they know what they need, and then they find what they need, and it's probably nothing like what they thought,
yeah.
right? But I think, you know, it was the perfect fit of all the items that were on your checklist that you didn't even know were there.
Yeah. And like I said, I started in May. It was the beginning of May. And then there was, I don't even remember, but we had, as a gym, where Becky asked us to cut out added sugars and alcohol. And I already don't drink alcohol, so added sugars is my thing. I'm like, well, everybody else drinks alcohol. I drink Dr. Pepper.
Right.
And when she asked us to do that, I was like, I've got to cut that out. And once I did, and that was in August when school starts back up, and that's hard because everybody comes at teachers with snacks and foods, and I gave up the added sugars, and that's when I really saw a difference physically in things, but already like mentally, and I was there where I could say, okay, you know, I can give this up. I don't need to lean on anything else to kind of help me feel happy,
Right.
you
For
know?
sure.
Yeah.
So you lost 30 pounds, and I like that accomplishment. I don't love that accomplishment. I like it.
Right.
What I love is hearing what you gained. So when you think about your life holistically and you think about, okay, I lost 30 pounds and I know you're proud of that, we're proud of that, but that's just a byproduct of the thing that is more important in your life.
Yeah.
So what is that for you? What did you gain mentally, emotionally, spiritually from the act of, you know, going through losing 30 pounds total?
Well, just confidence, complete confidence. And I think that's in every area. Like even at Burn, when they show us an exercise, I'm like, I don't know that I can do that. Like pull-ups, for example. And then you do it and you're like, whoa, I could do it. Because that confidence just to try, to take that first step. The confidence to make decisions in life, and being a mom, I'm just happier. And so when the kids are fussing and fighting and arguing and all that stuff, I can handle it a little bit more cool-headed, and I feel like, you know, these are good payoffs and good benefits for all of us.
For sure.
Yeah.
Do you find anything? Did you notice anything that she just didn't describe, like outsider looking in? Is there anything that you were like, man, she really started picking her
mean,
shoulders up more?
I really
or
think, I think one of the things that you gained was a teammate, right? I remember when she first brought her husband in, and I think it's so important, to have a house united. So often you see one person is working towards their goals, and there might be some, passive resistance on the other side that it's making their life harder, right? So the minute that Brett came in with you guys are so cute in camp. Oh my gosh. It's like disgusting how cute you guys are, right? But like, getting both parents in the gym, right? And you guys bring the boys and the consistency there, but them being able to watch you guys work out together, right? And the value there to model that kind of behavior for them, right? I think it's just so invaluable, right? And like having a teammate, right? Having somebody that you guys are in lockstep the whole way. I think it's so cool.
And that's one of the things that I think Burn Tallahassee has taught me is encouragement. Like the high fives now I'm high fiving my husband at home and he's like, well, he probably would take something, different. But, just the encouragement, the words of that push. And I've even had trainers come along beside me when I'm the last one doing my 50 push-ups and how many more you got? And they get down and they do the last 8 with you. That transfers over into our personal lives where, I can now, to my husband, let's wash the dishes together kind of thing. Let's do this together. We're teammates. And then, of course, a lot of people from my workplace, and we're encouraging each other, every time we see each other, just kind of, and I'm pretty sure the outsiders that are around us are like, those people are crazy. But really, we're supporting each other fiercely, and I know that comes from the gym, from Burn. Yeah.
So tell me more about your family. We went into it, zooming back to when it wasn't that way. And, there was maybe you going on one path and Brett going on another. And then how did that come to be where you guys started coming to Burn, bringing the kids? Like, what was the moment when maybe that first camp? That's probably a funny story, I'm assuming.
It's a very funny story.
So please tell me, take me back to who your kids are, introduce your kids, we already did a little bit, Brett, your husband.
Yes.
Maybe give him a little background, and then, let's talk about how your family has gone from like, when you first started at Burn and before like you were really bought in, and then once you were bought in, like how you influenced them in their household. I think that will help a lot of people because so often they, like Becky said, they do feel, and you probably felt this one at some point too, and talk about it, but they might feel on an island or, I don't have a ton of support for this particular area of my life.
Right.
Often it's not like all areas of life, it's just like a certain particular area of life, and a lot of times if one spouse is into fitness or health and the other one isn't, or somebody gets an itch to do it and the other one doesn't have it, there's often, and I go through this at home with Morgan, we like to do things together. It's, it's a constant push and pull and a give and a get, and that's in that scenario in the family household. So tell me, take it all the way back and then walk me toward that first camp with Brett. I think that's an interesting one.
Well, I have 2 sons. My oldest just turned 10 yesterday, and then I have my youngest, who is my tornado. His name is Silas. My oldest is Eli, and Silas is 6 years old, and Eli is my oldest. He takes everything in. He's really introverted. My youngest, on the other hand, lives life to the fullest, and he walks into a room and lights it up. But he has speech delays, and he's also been diagnosed with low muscle tone. He will never develop full muscles. And so from the time he's been a baby, it's always been very hard to hold him because he cannot hold back. He doesn't have the strength to wrap his legs around you. Yes. Okay. We've done genetic testing and all that kind of stuff, and we don't know the cause, but it's called hypotonia. And he's always been kind of like a bowling ball. And so before I started coming to the gym, I would scoop him up and take him to bed after rocking him and all of that stuff. And it was hard because he's just so heavy. And because as he gets older, he's getting bigger, and he doesn't necessarily need a lot of help, but he's just heavy. And once I started going to the gym, that got easier. I could hold him longer, I could scoop him. I didn't need my husband's help to transfer him from one place to another. And I was really kind of liking, oh, I can do this and I can meet his needs and be his muscle. He's very capable of doing things on his own, but there are times when he gets tired and it becomes difficult for him. So I was able to be a better mom for him. And of course, his older brother would help me out too, carry things along behind me that we would need to do. And so when I came to that first camp, I actually brought my boys with me. And when we left, of course, as I was popping and creaking and getting in the car, they were both like, "We got to go back, and we love we love going to the gym." And I'm like, "What? You've just been there one day." But again, my youngest is just, he lives life to the fullest, and everything is fun and everything is new. And so in that transition they were supporting me 100%. They wanted to go to the gym even when I didn't. In those first couple of weeks, you get sore, you can't move, and they're like, "Mommy, are we going to the gym? Mommy, are we going to Burn?" Yes, we'll go.
You can't let the kids down
No,
now.
I can't. But the more that I worked out, of course, I told you before, the calmer I was, the more even headed I was, level-headed. And within our household, with my husband and I, when it came to dealing with two growing siblings, he was the more hot-headed one. And I'm like, "Oh, man, you got to relax. I think you'd be better if you came and worked out some of that at the gym, And oh, no, Jillian, I can't do that. And I think after a while, because I started in May, and it was November. And so in November, it was Thanksgiving week, and he had the week off. I had the week off. I was like, "Why don't you come to the gym? Why don't you come to Burn and try it out?" And so he came to his first camp. It was full body strength, which is not very cardio. And I'll give you a little flashback. When we were dating, it took me 4 or 5 years to ever see him run. He's not a runner. He's not very athletic. So that first day at the gym with full body strength, I went to go pick up like a 25 dumbbell, and he says, "You're going to pick that up?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Whoa." Like questioning me.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I've got this." He's like, "I'm going to go for the 12, But he survived the workout. Yeah. And then at the end, he quietly excused himself to the restroom. He threw up 3 times.
Oh, let it go. That's awesome.
Yes.
That is awesome.
But you know what? He's made so much progress. So I remember his first week at the gym, and I was like, "Whew, I don't know if he's gonna make it." "Whew, this is really tough." And he is fighting for his life every camp, but kept coming, and you kept encouraging him. But he's made so much progress, right? Just his form, right? His weight, just the duration that he's capable of going and actually, sticking with a station. It's man, that makes me so proud. And it's just so cool to watch you guys grow together, right?
Yes.
And see you guys thrive as a team. I think that's just really so cool to kind of watch that progression kind of play out over time,
Yeah.
Well, I was so excited about speaking with you because when Burn Bootcamp first started, we were Charlotte's Fit Community of Moms. I'm not sure if you know how far back it goes, but that was our first tagline ever. Okay. We wanted to have 5 locations in North Charlotte, and we just wanted to take care. Same thing we're doing now at a domestic scale, but it went from Charlotte's Fit Community of Moms to empowering women, and then to empowering women and their families. And before, we didn't have an opportunity to invite Brett in necessarily, right? It was all women all the time. And so when we started evolving and saying, how can we take better care of mom at home? And it was by offering to bring in Brett and Eli and Silas, because isn't that what you care the most about in this entire world?
Yeah.
So if we're really truly serving a woman and her family is the most important thing to her, then it needs to be the most important thing to us as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, like that encouragement at home, we are encouraging each other, in dealing with our kids. And it was just, I think it was just last week, there was a Saturday workout where we were doing the surrender squats. And Brett's next to me, and it's a Saturday morning, and he's like, I don't think I can do these. I'm like, yes, you can, you got it. And he started with one hand down, and he was able to do it. And I was like, okay, now you got it. And so he was right there, and every time he did it, I was like, yes, you got it. Because, a couple of years ago, the man who's not much of an athlete can do this.
Yeah.
And it took me probably 6 months to get it down, and he's only been a member since November, and he's got it down. So
I love hearing that. Right? It's like we don't have to be born fitness people. Like
Right.
you get to, the beauty of this is that you have a team and you have a sport, and there's no tryouts. You can come, you can be a part of a team. Anybody can be a part of the team. Their family can be a part of the team, whether you've had an athletic background or not. Everybody is an athlete, right,
Yeah.
Beck?
And I think there's something to that affirmation, right, and validation, and someone telling you that you can, right?
Yes.
Because so often we're the first person to tell ourselves that we can't, and we'll tell other people that we can't,
Right.
And we're like, I can't do that. And when somebody's like, yes, you can, and you're like, no, I can't. And they're like, yes, you can, and aggressively, yes, you can.
Right.
And then you're like, I guess, right? And you give it the old, I can,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
like sometimes it takes somebody externally telling you, no, that's not it. You can, right? And but being kind, but also being challenging, right? You can do it.
Yes.
You can be challenging, but also be kind, and that's why I think that dynamic works so well for so many people, right? Is that it's encouraging, right?
Yes.
But it just unlocks so much potential in people that they weren't even willing to even be open to.
Right.
So cool. So
Does
cool.
Brett high five to high five everybody now too? Is that his thing now too?
I'm sure he does.
Is
He
he
works
secretly?
in the mortage industry, so
Okay.
I don't. He does a lot of
Yeah.
handshaking.
Close the deal with a
Closing
high
high
five.
five.
He's
Yeah.
probably.
Okay.
Congratulations.
All right.
Just need a little encouragement
Yeah,
today.
right, yeah.
Right.
Well, I am so happy to hear how this has affected your life in a positive sense, Brett's life in a positive sense, your boys. Tell me a little bit more about your boys, Eli and Silas, and how them watching mom and dad now step into something that's scary, step into something fearful. Our exercise is hard.
Right.
Our workouts are hard. And I don't know about you, I'm assuming this, so correct me if I'm wrong. I still personally get nervous when I see some exercises on there, and I'm like,
Yes.
we're doing that today?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it keeps us coming back, it keeps us excited. But there's a level of fear.
Yes.
Sometimes it dissipates as you come more and more and more. But there's a level of fear, there's a level of anticipation, there's also a level of self-doubt that comes into play, regardless of how many times you come to camp. And the beautiful thing is, we get to overcome that every time, and that's building us up mentally too. So as you and Brett are going through this physical and emotional and mental transformation, how specifically has that affected Eli and Silas, outside of them being the people that are the ones now dragging you to the gym, right, and pushing you forward? How have you seen it really impact them in a deeper way?
Well, we've had a couple of kids camps here at Burn, and they love coming to those. And my youngest, he'll always show his muscles, look, I have more muscles today. Look, I'm strong. And of course we feed into that. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. And I think for him, with his low muscle tone, knowing that he has no limitations for him is huge. But then
Give me goosebumps. Quit, stop.
part of the dialogue that's been kind of going on at home is they have been really feeding into, oh wow, mommy, you're strong. Oh wow, daddy, look at what you can do. And they are encouraging us. And usually the parents are the ones encouraging the kids, but now they turn around and encourage us. I think my youngest one uses it to his advantage. When he knows he's getting in trouble, he'll say, Mommy, you're strong.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I love that. Okay, you can go, play now.
Can I say 5-minute timeout? I meant one warning, let's not do that again.
Exactly. But they encourage us, and they see the benefits. They know that we're happy. They know that we're a cohesive family. And when we sit down at dinner and we share our highs and lows of the day, for a lot of it, at least for me, my highs have something to do with what I can now do that I couldn't before. And it might be a task at work, it might be something I've done at the gym, and then they look at that same thing and they come up to barriers in school life and not doing well or a low grade or something, and they're like, that's okay, I'm going to keep working just like you and just like daddy. And so it's great. And so going back to the kids camp, they're always like, when's the next one? When do I get to go to the gym? Because I'm a member at the gym too, Mommy, right?
Well, I think that's why the window in Child Watch is so important. Them actually getting to watch you in action and see the things that you do. And you're physically modeling. You're not just behavior modeling. You're actually letting them watch what you're accomplishing, right? And they're watching you struggle too. They're watching you fail, and then repeat and repeat and repeat and reiterate. And I think that's such an important lesson to instill so early, right? Is that failure is fine. Failure is forward, right? And then we try again, and then we try again, and I can fall on my face with that surrender squat over and over and over, and then I finally nail it, right? And that's when, we celebrate and all the bells go off, right? But like the real growth in that failure, right? And not being afraid to try. Right. And to fail in front of people, and to, you're in a safe place full of people that love you, and they're going to keep encouraging you regardless, right? And I think that's such a positive thing for them to witness and to, emulate. And so I'm so excited for them. And don't tell them, kids camp is coming. We got all the kids camps coming for fall break, so we're good.
Well, and even talking about the community that is part of Burn Tallahassee, part of my community at the gym now sees them and encourages them, like at school, and high fives them and checks in on them. And I have to tell my youngest, you've got eyes everywhere. Somebody's watching you, and they're going to let me know what you're doing.
Your mom's Burn famous, so
Right.
you better keep
Right. And he's like, I know. And I was like, so they saw you take that chicken sandwich from the lunchroom, and he's like, but I was hungry,
You gotta make them gains, Mom.
I know.
It's all about nutrition.
Exactly, but that community, when sometimes as parents you feel kind of like you're out there alone, you're because you're sacrificing so much for your family and focusing so much on your family, but now it's kind of like our family has gotten a little bit bigger. I'm an only child, so I don't have brothers and sisters even close, but I do have a community, and most of it is my Burn community that will, oh my goodness, happy birthday to your oldest. Happy birthday to Eli. I hope you had a great birthday. And it's just, it's amazing because my boys feel that too.
Right.
And my Eli said yesterday, I felt famous. Because so many people recognize
Y'all are really going to be famous
Just
after
wait
this
till
one.
he
Yeah,
winds
wait
up
till
on
this-
YouTube. My gosh, we're gonna have to keep his head bust him down.
Becky, you have, as I mentioned a few times, 454 members as of today and growing. What does it mean to you to have an opportunity to, the same way that you've provided an opportunity for Jill and her family, what does it mean to you to have a place, a business where more families can come to find themselves?
Well, I mean, I never really set out to do this, I kind of fell into owning a gym backwards, but out of a place where I moved home to care for my mom and lost my mom and immediately opened the gym 4 months later, right? and lost my dad in 2020, and this is my family, right? And I think that people come to the gym not very often out of a place of pleasure. Only sickos like me and you work out for fun, right? Most people come to the gym out of a place of pain, right? They're unhappy in some area and they're looking for a solution. And sometimes they don't even really, again, they haven't really identified the right fit for what needs they need met. But a lot of times, the validation and affirmation of people seeing you and recognizing you and knowing your name, right? You could be at work all day and you're ma'am or Miss Bosarge all day, and do they see me? Do they know me? Do they know anything about me, right? And to be part of a community of people who are also aligned with what you're trying to do, but support what you're trying to do. They know about you, they know your kids, they know your husband, they know your family, and they support you in a way that you need those connections, right? Mm-hmm. And I think more and more, that's that feeling of, yeah, here I am, right? And people see me, and being able to have that community around you, it's the greatest thing in the world. And it's so cool for me to be able to provide that for so many families, and for people that actually didn't know that that's what they were looking for when they walked through my door. They walked in and they were like, I'm unhappy, I want to lose 10 pounds. No, you don't, right? You want a community of people around you that love on you. And that's what we do, man. That's all day, every day, just love on people. And they wind up loving themselves and loving other people more, and it is the coolest thing, man. It is the greatest. It's the coolest job I'll ever have.
Well, I can tell how sincere you are.
Yeah, I'm trying. Barbara Walters, don't make me cry, man.
I can feel your heart. I can feel your heart.
I'll pull this down for a second to collect myself. Yeah, no, it's the greatest thing in the world.
That's amazing. And I'll ask you the same question before we finish up. What do you? I'll ask you in a different way. What do you hope more families know out there?
I just want them to know that you can change where you are, even though you might think that you're happy. You could be in a rut, you can do whatever, but whatever happens outside, when they walk into those doors, at whatever time you come to walk in, you are accepted. You can be different, you can have low muscle tone, you can look different, you can think different, and then you walk in and you become just part of a community, and you're all there for the same goal, to survive the workout, right? But when you go through adversity together, it draws you closer. And I really have, built my tribe and my community, and it's helped me through so many things. And I wouldn't change it for the world.
Well, it's fantastic to speak with you today.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your story and bringing it to this table and to everybody out there. And Becky, thank you for being here and providing me an opportunity to come down to Tallahassee to your gym.
I'm maybe not excited about National Burpee Day. Baby, you ready to go die?
Yeah, we're getting ready to go 4:30 camp. Here we go. I'm on the mic. Y'all, thank you so much for sitting down and hanging out with Jill and Becky here from Burn Boot Camp Tallahassee. Beck, why don't you take us out? 2 claps on 2.
2 claps on 2. 1, 2.
Make sure you subscribe to YouTube and the podcast, because more interviews from amazing FPs and members just like these two coming soon.